Tonight, small town, big storm.
We had no alert. Everything started moving very quickly.
The cleanup in Mapleton after a weekend of severe weather. Plus, proper protection.
Inhaling smoke is really bad for you, and it accumulates in your body.
The push at City Hall to ensure workers are safe when air quality drops. And pushing back on pet waste.
This is not acceptable. The city's got to wake up and see we're here.
The residents claiming city officials have broken a green bin promise.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the cleanup in a small Elgin County community. 2 days after a severe storm ripped through, power has been restored to hundreds of homes, and Brent Lale has more on the damage left behind.
Cleanup continues in the Elgin County hamlet of Mapleton after a storm ripped through Saturday.
Just like freight train, it was just booming down and down and down. It just seemed like it was stuck here, and the wind was so strong.
We had no alert. There was no emergency alert sent to the phone. Everything started moving very quickly.
The aftermath is visible. On Belmont Road, a tree fell onto a car, but most of the carnage was along Mapleton Line.
Got a lot of trees down, power's off, of course, lines are down, road is blocked, using generator and touching base with all the neighbors, make sure they're okay.
The Moncriefs had a massive tree ripped from its roots and smashed their shed.
It was close to the house, but fortunately it went the opposite way. And so no damage to the house or barn. There was probably about 6 other trees that had the first 15 to 20 feet taken off the top of them.
They also had a tree limb go right through their car window, which was parked off their driveway. After initially deciding to assess the damage remotely, Western University's Northern Tornadoes Project has now sent a crew Monday morning.
We just have a couple reports of damage of some barns, some trees. So usually once we get more reports of damage, we then kind of go out. So we're going to put the drone up. It's easier to see a larger area. And then we're going to make our way back there on the ground. Hydro One grounded the wires Saturday, and Central Elgin closed roads. Nearly 48 hours after the storm, hydro crews were on scene Monday morning fixing these snapped trees and poles. Despite the property damage, the Moncriefs believe it could have been worse.
No loss of livestock or pets that we are aware of in our neighborhood, so that's a good thing. And as far as I know, no one injured.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Members of a local environmental advisory committee say they're going to push city officials to take a closer look at London's emergency preparedness protocols. As Lauren Stallone reports, those concerns have been raised in part due to the increasing frequency of wildfire smoke in our area.
This might be the least smoky and coolest summer of the rest of our lives.
And that's why environmental activist Brendan Samuels is preparing a list of questions to ask London City Council regarding a potential emergency preparedness plan.
Our questions are around how are we preparing for what's become the new normal, and we think that the city should be looking more attentively at what other cities are doing to protect residents from smoke and from extreme heat.
This comes as smoke burning from wildfires across northern Ontario prompted air quality warnings and the closure of some outdoor events in London last week.
We are going to be bringing forward some recommendations related to relief for those conditions.
Samuel says the questions will focus on providing Londoners with accurate information to keep themselves safe.
Looking at things like indoor air quality, are we ensuring that buildings are safe for the public? When we gather people in cooling centers, are those buildings actually kept at a sufficient clean air quality so that people aren't going to be affected by the smoke while indoors?
Other questions include how are outdoor city workers being informed and personally protected during poor air quality? And does the city provide all workers with appropriate ventilation PPE?
Inhaling smoke is really bad for you, and it accumulates in your body.
According to the federal government's guide to wildfire smoke and your health, There is no known safe level of exposure for some of these pollutants. That means that smoke can impact your health even at very low levels.
Our most vulnerable populations are the ones that are most likely to be breathing in smoke, and I can't tell most people where you can go to get a respirator or an N95 mask if you're concerned about air quality and you can't afford to buy one.
Samuel says he hopes the discussion encourages council to take a fresh look at how London prepares for wildfire smoke and extreme heat.
I find that our strategy is a little bit piecemeal and a little bit divided, and it's sometimes hard to know week to week what to expect. And so this is a matter of us trying to take stock of all the good work that's happening and figure out, are there areas where we can improve and make sure that people understand who is doing what.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Oneida Nation of the Thames officials have launched a donation and fundraising campaign supporting First Nations impacted by the Northern Ontario wildfires. Organizers say they're collecting toys, arts and crafts for children, which can be brought to the municipal office on Elm Avenue. Monetary donations are also accepted through a link on the Oneida Nation of the Thames website. City officials have lifted an open-air burn ban for London. The ban was put in place last Thursday in response to the wildfire smoke and resulting air quality issues. The smoke dissipated over the weekend, and today fire officials lifted the ban.
Good evening. Comfortable conditions to start the week. Temperatures hovering between 23 and 25 degrees across most of the region, starting in the warm spot at 26 and a bit of a humidex, feeling close to 30 in London on the hour. Conditions across our region tonight, we'll start to see increasing amounts of cloud cover, some much needed rainfall in northwestern Ontario. We have the chance for showers by sunrise and the potential for some thunderstorms. If you're curious on our air quality today, we have returned to normal. So in London, we are reading in the moderate risk category, and in and around the GTA, low risk. Good news, breathing easier today across southern Ontario. Temperatures as we head through the late evening holding into the 20s. Winds light out of the south from 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. A cold front on the move tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be developing in the area, and the air mass behind it is a whole lot cooler. Temperatures are set to drop off Wednesday. I'll take you through that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Julie. Fire crews were called out for a gas leak in East London this afternoon. Someone spotted smoke coming from an industrial-sized fuel tank near River Road in Gore. Emergency officials say they evacuated the property and closed nearby roads as a precaution. They say after a full inspection, they isolated a supply line which stopped the smoke. According to fire officials, the company responsible for servicing the tank was called in, and there likely was no danger nor any environmental concerns. Provincial police say one person was killed in a crash near Lucknow yesterday. According to OPP, it happened on Bruce Road 86 between Side Road 20 South and Kintail Line. Police say a 77-year-old from Kincardine was pronounced dead at the scene. London police say one of 3 people taken to hospital from a fire last week has died. The fire broke out Friday morning in the Old East Village. Police say a 29-year-old woman has since succumbed to her injuries, and the investigation has now been reassigned to the Major Crime Section, working alongside the Ontario Fire Marshal. At the time, police said the other 2 people taken to hospital had critical injuries, and there's been no update on their status. Meanwhile, city officials released a statement today stating the property had outstanding standards and building code orders that ownership had been made aware of earlier this year. The ward councillor Susan Stevenson also released a statement saying this was a predictable tragedy by many who knew the area. Residents in a South London neighborhood are pushing back on a city pilot project allowing pet waste in green bins. As Sean Irvin reports, they've dealt with foul odors before, and they don't think this will help.
Alan Tipping takes in the breeze alongside his swimming pool. It is something he fears he might not be able to do if a one-year pilot project to collect pet waste in green bins spreads citywide. The one-time city council candidate lives along Dingman Drive, near the city's organic waste contractor. For years, he and his neighbors contended with reports of odor while the processing facility was under a different operator.
We've been hit with smells from the facility for, well, everybody knows, over 14 years. And it's finally turned around a little bit, and now the city's going to put animal waste, which we were promised would not come into the green bin.
Tipping tells CTV News the broken promise has forced the area's residents association to band together out of fear that smelly air could return.
This is not acceptable. The city's got to wake up and see we're here.
Well, residents ultimately do not want to see the pet waste program go ahead. For now, they'd simply take a seat at the table during the planning process. Councillor Hadley McAllister chairs the city committee that greenlit the pet poo bin concept.
I understand, there's probably a group that doesn't want it who might be impacted near these sites, but it is something we've heard from residents that they wanted to see when we first implemented the program.
McAllister says if the pilot program is successful, London's pet poop could be dumped in every green bin in the city.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Obviously, this pilot project will run its course, come back to committee, and any citywide project, there would be opportunities for public engagement.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Local farm owners are opening up their operations this coming weekend, giving people a behind-the-scenes look at the process of getting their food from the farm to their tables. With more on the event coming to Huron County, here's Scott Miller.
Nearly 30 years ago, Joe and Barb Terpstra started milking cows near Brussels.
In 1997, we started with about 100 cows, and after that, we built a barn, went up to 300 cows, and then this latest build has allowed us to go to 400.
This Saturday, the Terpstras open up their dairy operation to the public for the 29th edition of Breakfast on the Farm, a farm and food care initiative to bring consumers up close and personal to the farms that produce some of the food they find at the grocery store.
We want people to come in and see how we look after our animals, and that more confident in the product that we're making.
58,000 people have visited an Ontario farm during the 28 previous Breakfast on the Farms, which were designed in 2013 to bridge a growing divide between food consumers, making up the majority of the population, and food producers, making up a minute fraction of Ontarians.
When somebody goes to the grocery store, there's a lot of choices, and we're wanting people to make a local choice and see the whole foods and the foods that are good for them and produced on local farms.
A big part of the Terpstra's 1,200-acre operation, which produces 14,000 liters of milk a day, burned to the ground just 3 years ago. So sharing their newly constructed milking parlor and third-generation farm with the public means a bit more than it might have before the blaze.
We have 3 of our 4 children working here on the farm, and it's really put a spark into us. We had a fire 3 years ago, and we've rebuilt, and which brought our children home. And it's very special to be able to work side by side with our kids.
There's already been 800 tickets pre-sold to Saturday's Breakfast on the Farm here near Brussels. The Terpstras say there is plenty of room for more visitors to their farm.
There's going to be lots of animals, not just cows. There's going to be sheep and lambs. We have pigs, water buffalo, beef cows.
Near Brussels, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The 30th annual London Pride Parade was this past weekend. Here's a look at the festivities.
Presence in London is just so important. We have a great group of colleagues here in London. Being part of the community is showing up for our colleagues within the company, but it's also being a member of the community more broadly in London.
Happy Pride, everyone! It is a celebration of a group of community members that historically have been very marginalized that can't be visible. It is that point in the year when folks that haven't found that level of acceptance, you can hear the acceptance that they've got. And it's not just from within the LGBT community, but also the broader community as well. And just absolute acceptance across our Western area.
Happy Pride! Yet another huge turnout for London Pride. I want to commend the festival organizers. They've done a great job organizing this and all the other activities associated with Pride in our city. And what a wonderful celebration of everybody being welcome. It's a huge opportunity for everybody to march together, to support each other, and to really show what London's all about.
Happy Pride, CTV!
It is cute. The kids come out, they have the bubbles, they're hitting with all the fun prizes and swag, and it's always just like such a good overall feel good.
It's celebrating love. It's everybody just joy and love. It's my daughter's favorite day of the year. It's bonus. You see people from different police forces, different groups being represented here. Just come and show, and I head back to Benny's word of love, and that's what the day is.
When we come back, fanning the tariff flames, how Canadian wildfires could impact negotiations, and the Premier's response to the President. Plus, how much prevention is possible, breaking down the myths over forest management and wildfire ignition. Welcome back. American authorities have announced a new 50% tariff on certain Canadian products beginning 1 month from now. White House officials say they are frustrated by the Canadian supply management system for dairy products and provincial decisions to take U.S. alcohol off store shelves. Sources say a list of affected imports will be published, but these tariffs, unlike many others, will have no exemptions for goods compliant under the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement on Trade. Before that was announced, Premier Doug Ford had delivered a blunt message. He was responding to threats from the American president over smoke from Canadian wildfires drifting south. With more on that, here's Mike Lucatour.
Send up some water bombers. Send up some wildland firefighters.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says instead of the threat of tariffs, President Trump should send help to fight the wildfires. It came after the U.S. leader said he spoke to Prime Minister Mark Carney about the smoke that was blanketing some American cities.
We got to stop the fires up there. If we can help them, we'll help them. But maybe they should pay us some damages or something, or we should do some tariffs.
That suggestion drew this response from Ford.
Rather than criticize and threaten Canada, your closest friends, maybe one day you're going to need our help like you did last year, and we deployed the people. I get frustrated just listening to that bunch of rubbish.
Prime Minister Carney did talk to Trump at Sunday's soccer match. In a statement, his office said the Prime Minister provided an update on the wildfire management and the comprehensive approach taken to ensure the safety of all Canadians and Americans.
You have to take his threat seriously, even though it is nonsense.
Brian Clow is the former Deputy Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He believes Canadian officials have been reaching out to their U.S. counterparts.
They are reacting calmly, factually, providing information to the Americans to try to bring the temperature down.
A sign that perhaps it's working. Pete Hoekstra made a toast to the Canada-U.S. relationship over some American whiskey in Edmonton. While he didn't weigh in on CUSMA negotiations, he was optimistic about bilateral trade.
We're going to end up with a deal between two large trading partners.
And it seems the latest threats haven't derailed other joint projects. Hoekstra said he'll be at Friday's opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge with Canadian officials. Mike Lucouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
The president's claims over forest mismanagement have sparked a conversation about what Canada can do to mitigate wildfires and their impact. With more on the reality when it comes to policy and prevention, here's Heather Wright.
Nearly 1,000 wildfires are burning across Canada right now, most of them caused by lightning, and many considered out of control.
These fires are so intense that you almost can't fight them. You almost have to move people away from the fire zone, and even water bombers can't do it. It's almost you need weather. I mean, weather caused many of them, and weather has to put them out.
And while fires are part of the natural ecosystem in northern Canada, climate change means summers are warmer, the vegetation is drier, making fires more extreme.
We have had bad fire seasons in the past, but we have bad fire seasons more often now because of climate change. That's quite obvious.
This year is already rivaling 2023, the most destructive fire season in Canadian history. Thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes, and air quality has been impacted in major cities across North America. But forestry professor David Martel refutes claims that these fires are caused by forest mismanagement.
There's no truth whatsoever to those. We know how to manage forests and we know how to manage fire. But however, we cannot extinguish every fire that occurs, and sometimes these agencies get overwhelmed.
Experts say the biggest contributing factor to intensifying forest fires is climate change, but there are things communities can do to protect themselves. That could include constructing fire breaks, clearing debris along the perimeter of town, and building homes with fire-safe material. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
On the desk now with Julie Atchison, and over the weekend we did get some rain across our region. I have to say, for the people with crispy lawns, let's call it, didn't feel like it was enough.
Myself included, yes. Definitely need more in the way of rainfall, and not everyone sees rain when we see the thunderstorms bubble up, and that'll be the weather story tomorrow. We have storms coming in by sunrise, and we'll have a few rounds tomorrow morning, and then a break through the day before another round comes in the afternoon in advance of a cold front. Temperature today, it was cool this morning. It was lovely, though. Nice and fresh first thing. Breathing easy, as I mentioned off the top, definitely makes you appreciate when we have some clear conditions. 27 degrees is what's normal for this time of year. Scattered showers and thunderstorms moving into northern Ontario. Once again, lightning strikes are an issue in those areas. Continuing to see that tonight with severe weather watches issued. The only other watch in effect is in through the interior of BC, where they are dealing with some heat and heat warnings in effect. Other than that, it's quiet across the country. We have the rainfall that's moving across the southern prairies, northwestern Ontario picking up some rain, and this little short wave is going to dive into the lower Great Lakes tomorrow with some rain. Now, I did want to show you the forest fire smoke, and you can still see a high concentration in northern Ontario and in through parts of the U.S., but a break in through Michigan and southern Ontario today. But south, you can see Ohio, Indiana, Illinois still dealing with very poor air quality. Across the country, as we take a look at the prairies tonight, temperatures from 20 to 25 degrees. It's the interior of BC that's dealing with the heat, and northwestern Ontario, some rainfall, much needed tonight, and that will continue as that little wave pushes through. But the thunderstorms, they don't need those lightning strikes. Overnight, we'll dip down between 20 and 17 degrees across most of the area, a bit milder along the lakeshore. Heading into tomorrow, this is that little wave coming in. You can see the rain that will be developing across the area. This is in advance of that warm front that comes through overnight and early in the morning. That sparks the scattered showers and thunderstorms. The winds will be out of the southwest and picking up, so winds southwest 20 with gusts to 40. The cold front will slip through heading into the late afternoon, evening, and we'll see some rounds of scattered showers and thunderstorms out ahead of that front. So we'll slow it down for you so you can see the timing on this. So that's at about 5 a.m. So in London, anywhere between 3 and 5 a.m., likely some rumbles of thunder. You may not need an alarm clock tomorrow morning. In Lambton County, you'll see some showers towards Sarnia, and then as that swings its way through, there's the cold front, and you can see the scattered showers and thunderstorms in advance of that. So much needed rainfall. Hopefully most areas will pick up some rain. The main threats with these storms will be torrential downpours and gusty winds. The winds as they come around from the northwest as we head into Wednesday, and you can see there is the potential for some lake effect cloud cover and showers as we head toward Midwestern Ontario. 23 degrees, the forecast high tomorrow, so on the cooler side. The winds, as I mentioned, kicking around to the northwest by Tuesday night. Mix of sun and cloud Wednesday, sunshine Thursday and Friday. Daytime high Wednesday, though, takes a bit of a dive. We'll hit just 21 degrees. We're back into sunshine heading into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Both days a mix of sun and cloud. The next chance for rain will not arrive until Sunday night, and then we have some showers in the forecast on Monday. Midwestern Ontario, scattered showers and thunderstorms, and 24 degrees tomorrow. And then as we head into Wednesday, a mix in 19, that's cool. Normally we're at about 26 degrees this time of year. Thursday into Friday, sunshine and 24 to 26, and a mix of sun and cloud both Saturday and Sunday, with the rain holding off until Sunday night. Forecast looks good heading into the weekend. We do need some rain. Hopefully we'll get it Carlyle without the heavy thunderstorms, but definitely could use a bit more moisture in southern Ontario, that's for sure.
All right. Thanks very much, Julie. Still ahead, easing inflation, but there are signs that relief could just be temporary.
Who's hungry, London? Growing Chefs Ontario presents the return of Londonlicious, July 24th to August 16th, spotlighting unique and delicious eats in the Forest City. Enter now at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win dinner for two at one of the amazing restaurants.
New Stats Canada data shows inflation slowed last month, falling to 2.8%. However, Genevieve Beauchemin reports that trend could soon reverse as violence flares back up in the Middle East.
The shopping list of price increases for grocery staples in June includes fresh and frozen chicken up 5.7% compared to May, and bread rolls and buns cost 6% more. Overall, the price tag to feed a family continues to rise, June marking the 17th consecutive month that the inflation in grocery prices outpaced the all-item consumer price index.
Over the last 5 years, prices have increased 20%. Grocery prices have increased 30%.
In June, the price of fresh fruits like grapes helped lessen the gap. And the large increases of the cost of tomatoes of the last year and a half have slowed. Still, one that cost $1.20 then now costs $1.80. And there could be a wild card for upcoming fruit and vegetable prices. And that's whether wildfire smoke impacts crops.
For tomatoes, they will be forming and growing, and that could make for smaller tomatoes or fewer tomatoes. So we don't know. It's very difficult to measure.
Now, that higher price tag has widespread implications. It may be midsummer, but back-to-school shopping is already on.
It was about $130, and I'm not done.
Aid groups say families struggling to fill grocery baskets have little left to fill backpacks.
When you have to choose between paying your bills, between paying your rent, or with feeding your family, school supplies down the list.
And while the cost of grocery baskets were up 3.9% in June, the overall inflation slowed to 2.8%, in large part driven by gas prices. In June, there were diplomatic talks and an interim ceasefire that was announced in the conflict in Iran. Renewed tensions have already seen prices at the pump rise this month. And the cost of travel-related services also went up, particularly in Toronto and Vancouver, World Cup host cities, where hotel room costs rose. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Some Canadians are now getting a roughly 2% increase for their federal child benefit payment. That's about $160 a year more for eligible parents with kids under 6 years old. For parents with kids between 6 and 17, that's about a $135 annual increase. The Canada Child Benefit is adjusted to inflation, with roughly 3.6 million Canadians benefiting from these increases. Officials with the Ford Motor Company say they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars into their Essex engine plant. It's part of a new agreement meant to strengthen their operations in Canada. With more, here's Sanjay Maru.
For Ford workers in Windsor, the biggest part of their new contract may not be the money, but the possibility of a third shift at the Essex engine plant.
We can bargain everything but the kitchen sink, but if you don't have job security, people aren't going to be able to enjoy everything else.
The third shift is being forecasted for the future and is not a guarantee, but the new agreement backs the proposal with a $700 million investment in Ford's Windsor operations, which will expand and modernize the Essex engine plant, helping maximize 5-liter engine production and support development of larger engines. The deal also comes with 3 years of labor stability, 3% annual wage increases, cost of living protection, and up to $12,000 in first-year bonuses for eligible workers.
It sends a message that if you want to sell in Canada, you need to build in Canada, you need to invest in Canada.
Speaking on AM 800 this morning, Unifor National President Lana Payne says the agreement was reached against a backdrop of deep uncertainty with U.S. tariff threats, changing electric vehicle plans, and cutbacks at other Canadian auto plants. But following this latest agreement, union leaders say the combination of new investment, job security, and future product commitments puts Windsor's Ford operations in a strong position for years to come.
When it comes to that third shift, do you have any idea how many jobs that would create?
Several hundred, I would think, by the time we're done, and that's, I think, incredibly important there in and of itself, because it also means that we will be building more engines, and that's what Ford is forecasting for now.
Unifor says it made a deliberate decision to reach a deal before the existing contract expired in September. The union says Ford has 2 major product launches planned for that month, and it did not want a labor dispute to put those launches or future Canadian investment at risk.
They've shown us that they're investing in Canada, so we thought if there's ever a way of doing this, this was it.
Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down by heavy losses in the financial sector today. The TSX lost 304 points. In New York, the Dow fell 307. The Nasdaq dropped 12. The Canadian dollar was down 1/5 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold dropped almost $3 an ounce, and oil added 70 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, pulling together and spreading kindness. The local movement of random acts bringing a little happiness to Londoners. Welcome back. Marineland officials say they've started relocating their captive whales. They say 6 belugas have been shipped to aquariums in the U.S. The park itself is up for sale, with officials saying they're running out of money to care for the remaining marine mammals on the property. They had tried to move them to an aquarium in China last year, but federal government officials blocked that. Since then, they struck a deal with a consortium of American and Spanish facilities to take them in. We are learning more about expenses from a former minister who billed taxpayers for luxury hotel stays in Toronto, where he lives. As John Woodward reports, records show he was using his political donor money to eat at luxury restaurants and stay in hotels all over the country.
Toronto's Albany Club bills itself as Canada's preeminent club for conservative-minded leaders. And former Ontario Tourism Minister Stan Cho must have felt very like-minded. He spent more than $9,000 there on food, beverage, and catering in 3 years. The money was from donations to his constituency association and also from the public per-vote subsidy the association gets. His approved expenses over 3 years included more than $10,000 to Nome Izakaya Japanese tapas bar, more than $16,000 to the Sher-e Punjab restaurant. All in, his food and beverage expenses added up to about $100,000.
He's living a life of the rich and famous, not only on the taxpayer dime, but on his supporters' dime.
Cho already submitted his resignation to the Premier after news he'd billed for hotel stays in Toronto, where he lives. But he billed his constituency for more trips. Cho spent more than $6,000 on airfare and $12,000 on hotels, including stays at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier in Ottawa and the Rimrock Resort in Banff. One hotel he billed for, the Clock Tower Inn, is only about a 3-hour drive away. The NDP's Marit Stiles also making an Integrity Commissioner complaint about Brampton MPP Hardeep Singh Grewal, whose constituency association spent money on an ad buy in his father's newspaper.
All of those MPPs and ministers that have filed these outrageous expenses, do they still have the confidence of this Premier? And I will say, for me, the rot starts at the top.
The Premier condemning the older hotel expenses.
They're all paying it back, and it's unacceptable. If you guys think for a second I'm happy about this, you're wrong. It's unacceptable. They're all paying it back. Simple as that.
But not addressing questions about Cho's newly discovered constituency expenses or saying whether Cho should stay on as an MPP. Other PC MPPs that billed the taxpayer for hotels have promised to repay their expenses, but so far appear to be keeping their jobs. John Woodward, CTV News.
American Food and Drug Administrators say one sample of lettuce, which previously tested positive for a parasite behind a massive lettuce recall, was a false positive. So far, FDA officials say they've identified a single lettuce supplier they believe is behind the outbreak, Taylor Farms. Some cases have also been linked to Taco Bell locations. Taylor Farms has since pulled dozens of products sourced from central Mexico. Canadian officials say they're in contact with FDA counterparts, reviewing information, and so far no outbreaks have been reported on this side of the border. Canadian health advocates say this country is starting to fall behind when it comes to offering clinical trials. Pauline Chan reports.
In some disease areas like oncology, it can mean a difference between life and death. A clinical trial is an opportunity for Canadians to access new innovative medicines, cutting-edge therapies, and specialized care.
Pharmacist Bettina Hamlin of Innovative Medicines Canada worries that Canada's once leading role as a place to hold clinical trials is slipping.
And we're losing that competitiveness because other countries are really stepping up and attracting clinical trials into their jurisdictions.
That's despite Canada having top universities, renowned researchers, and excellent hospitals.
It takes on average 2 years for Canadians to then access that medicine. And so that time lapse is not very attractive for companies to invest in clinical trials in Canada because it takes so long to then actually bring the medicines to Canadians. Other countries, they make it available on the market as soon as the regulators have determined that a medicine is safe and effective.
Another factor that's come up is President Trump's call to give the U.S. most favored nation status.
They want to get the guaranteed lowest price of any country. And historically, Canadians have paid a lot less. So some companies may not want to launch a new medicine and set a low bar that may affect their market in the American market, for example.
Barry Stein knows the importance of access to clinical trials. He was diagnosed with colon cancer in 1995 and went through 2 clinical trials, one in California, one in Montreal.
What we believe is that we have to improve the way we do things in Canada to encourage investment in life sciences and ultimately in new products that patients can avail themselves of in Canada.
He says streamlining the process, such as Ontario has done with its FAST program, accelerating access to certain cancer drugs, will help not only patients, but also the healthcare industry. And Hamlin says those skilled jobs and investment in medical research are a big part of Canada's economy. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A new study out of Japan suggests breastfeeding during a baby's first 6 months can help infants sleep better. Researchers say they analyzed data from more than 82,000 mothers, finding babies who were breastfed exclusively were less likely to get too little sleep by their first birthday compared to formula-only babies. Scientists say breast milk contains natural hormones and nutrients that may help babies develop healthy sleep patterns. The lead researcher called the findings surprising, stating that combining breastfeeding with formula appeared to offer similar benefits, but more research is needed as children grow older. Extreme weather is disrupting vacation plans across the country. In Manitoba, wildfires and severe flooding have meant viable campsites have been hard to come by. Alex Carpa reports.
These are some of our favorite Manitoba campgrounds.
For Alicia Mitchell and her family, camping is an annual tradition, but this summer looked a little different.
Unfortunately, this summer we weren't able to secure any camping within Manitoba.
Mitchell says she's been checking Manitoba's campground reservation website regularly, hoping to snag a cancellation, but so far she hasn't had any luck.
We have done some camping outside of the province and just trying again and hoping for the best.
While demand for campsites remains high across Manitoba, many campgrounds are facing challenges related to flooding and ongoing impacts from raging wildfires. This was the scene earlier this week at Pasha Lake Cabins in northwestern Ontario. Owner Victoria Lafreniere has lived her whole life in the region and says she's never seen anything like this before.
There was embers flying everywhere. It was crazy.
She says the situation has improved over the last couple of days, but says the uncertainty of what could happen is impacting her business.
We actually seen a very significant loss of revenue. I've had a lot of people cancel the rest of the season as well, just because of the worry of the air quality and not knowing what could happen.
And it's not fire, but water that's causing chaos for some campgrounds in western Manitoba, still trying to recover from intensive flooding. Karen Goreluk lost 14 of the 22 sites at her campground after it was hit by 2 major floods in 3 weeks.
The land fell into the river. It's very sandy, and it just started to eat away the first flood, and the second flood took a whole bunch more. So that area, it's half gone.
A lot to navigate for campers like Mitchell, who remains hopeful a spot will open up somewhere this summer.
I have faith that we'll be able to secure a cancellation in one of the campgrounds and get one of those notifications. And if not, then we'll have to wait till next year.
Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Tomorrow on CTV News, automotive history in London. More than 100 antique Model Ts from across North America rolling into the Forest City. The annual international tour tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
There was an antique Model T's car show over the weekend at the Fanshawe Pioneer Village. Donna Simpson captured one of the beautiful antique cars out and about in London. I saw a couple in South London as well. We have scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast heading into your Tuesday. Temperatures dip on Wednesday. It'll be a bit cool. Thursday, we're back to sunshine and heading into the weekend. Beautiful forecast on the way.
Andy Burnham has officially taken office as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, becoming the country's 7th leader in the past decade. The 58-year-old arrived at Buckingham Palace this morning after securing the leadership position for the Labour Party. Buckingham Palace released this photo of King Charles meeting with Burnham. During the meeting, the monarch officially invited the former mayor of Greater Manchester to form the UK's next government.
In doing so, I am acutely conscious that I am the 6th person in the last 10 years to walk up this street, the 7th Prime Minister since 2016, making this a moment for reflection and new resolution. It requires my generation of politicians to raise our game and rise to the new challenge.
Now, earlier today, now former Prime Minister Keir Starmer addressed the UK, saying his work was done.
Good morning. I'm about to visit His Majesty the King to offer my resignation and close the book on my time as Prime Minister. My work is done. In 6.5 years, I took our party from a historic defeat in 2019, changed it so it was fit to face the country, and won a landslide general election victory in 2024.
Following the speech, Starmer traveled to Buckingham Palace, where he formally stepped down. Starmer was ousted by his own party roughly a month ago, and he says Burnham has his full support. Federal authorities are barring foreign nationals who have been to the Democratic Republic of Congo from entering the country, citing an Ebola risk. Public health agents say the temporary measure will go into effect at midnight, mandating at least 3 weeks pass after leaving the Congo before being allowed entry to Canada. Commercial and private air carriers are also not allowed to board those foreign nationals on flights into the country. Congolese health officials say at least 930 people have died from this latest Ebola outbreak. The World Cup wrapped up yesterday with Spain claiming their 2nd World Championship, defeating Argentina in the final.
There's no denying them this trophy. Magnificent achievement.
Spain lifted the trophy after an extra-time victory by a score of 1-0, concluding the 5-week tournament, which featured 48 teams and more than 100 matches. Spain will actually co-host the next World Cup in 4 years' time with Portugal and Morocco. A rather eye-catching rodent has captured hearts all over the internet. With more on what makes this critter so particularly endearing, here's CNN's Jeremy Roth.
What am I looking at?
That is a great question, and the confusion could be forgiven as videos of an oddly shaped raccoon wandering around Seattle have taken the town and the internet by storm.
Almost a little supernatural.
The confounding critter, known to locals for its unique and spherical shape, has been caught on camera all around town and was nicknamed Jimothy by at least one witness. But why Jimothy?
Me and my husband saw him and he looked like a Jimothy to us.
Fair enough. He looks like something, that's for sure. But what gives Jimothy this odd, what exactly gives him, what gives? One local veterinarian believes Jimothy has a congenital spine shortening disease.
It does look quite unusual, but it is a condition that happens in other mammals as well.
That's not to minimize Jimothy's exceptionality, though. Folks online sure aren't, where the rotund and rascally raccoon has achieved legendary status, complete with its own fantastical fan art. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, a weekend filled with random acts of kindness. With more on the locals and their mission to spread some happiness, here's Brent Lale.
An orange wave made its way through the cities, spreading joy.
We're out on a mission to turn random acts of kindness into regular acts of kindness.
We want to buy about 10 people in line their drinks.
The mission came as a huge surprise to some of those in line in Wortley Village.
Came up out of nowhere. I don't know. It was a lot of energy.
That's what we all need.
right now.
Organized by Project Impact, Random Acts of Kindness Days is now a movement.
We're going to go out, give high fives, hugs, pet dogs, give compliments, buy flowers, coffee.
Random Act of Kindness is actually just a small part of what we do. The Miley Group and Project Impact took care of 250 families this year. Not just food, Christmas. So presents, wish lists, and food.
It's a Random Act of Kindness Day.
I like this.
So if you go to Has-Beans, it's a free medium coffee.
With sponsored donations, they made their way downtown to markets and eventually outside Rockta Park.
We'd like to buy a bunch of your flowers and give them away.
Yeah, and we'll give you a good deal. They purchased items and handed them out to strangers as well as those in need. How appreciative are you of that?
Oh, well, believe me, it's great. I am thirsty.
You look very handsome over there. It's an interesting kind of social experiment, to be honest with you, when people they're just a little bit skeptical of it, but it's beautiful to watch it change when they realize that it's just a moment, and it makes our heart happy.
Sometimes shocked. They don't know. In the world, sometimes it's like, we want to give you something. They're like, okay, what's the catch? What do you want? And so it's really actually so cool when you witness it that we don't want anything. And that is actually, I think, the best part of this is when they are completely taken aback that we didn't want anything except to spread joy and spread kindness.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.